Hello everyone. Nice to know you are here waiting. You are welcome on board. Let me add to the screen those who are here with us today. I can see Bola, Jayola. Hello, Bola.
Hello, good evening.
Hello, Bola. You're welcome. Evening. I'm trying to put Yemisi on, but she's not connected. Okay, so today we are talking about domestic violence, and it's more of creating awareness. There have been issues in the media of recent about how people are still going through domestic violence, and we want to throw light on it and actually help anyone who is going through it, who is not sure of how to come out of that kind of abuse. So I'm still waiting for other people to join us. I'm sure they'll be coming in afterwards. They'll be coming in as we continue. But before we start, I would like to put this video on just to show. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. I see you, Kemi. You're welcome. Thank you for me that you're here.
Good evening, everyone.
Yes. Good evening. So we are just going to watch a video that was just sent to me. I'm hoping, well, if there's a copyright thing on it, so we'll take it out later. But I'll just show the video and just to kick off why we are here, to what we are talking about today. And I'm hoping that other videos will come up just to throw light on what we're talking about today. So, yeah, welcome, T. You are welcome, T. Other people are here. Let me add them in. Yes, you are welcome, T. Tyrell. You're welcome.
Yeah, what's up? Kemi, what's up? Bumi, what's up?
Yeah, fine, okay.
Taiwo, coffee food. How you doing?
I'm only back. Mo fẹ́ tan fan, ooru mú mi.
Sọ fún àtọ́, orú tó mú London ni, kí ló dé? Orú wo ló mú ẹ?
Now we're on like 16 degrees. Weather warm in UK right now.
Just tonight though.
Oh, really?
Minutes.
Yeah, so warm for October. Yeah, oh yeah, ká go to my lọ́sẹ̀yìn lálẹ́.
Hey, what's the issue about Tago Lọ́sẹ̀yìn? What's that about?
Now mo pé àti kúrò ní summer. I think bossing winter, so we're always 1 hour behind when it's winter time.
So you take
really?
so now that it's 8 o'clock,
Yeah.
by tomorrow.
Well, I think what November at all.
This 8 o'clock will be 9 o'clock.
I want to buy shisha lálẹ́ and see they're working 1 hour extra.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Welcome. We have a bit of full house. Welcome,
Oh,
everyone.
like seriously?
Yeah, because I posted it on the 2 general platforms now. I don't know why you don't post it there.
I just I posted at the time.
I just thought, why people are shaking post so some people will not join that other group platform because they don't want too many groups. So I just sent it.
It would be nice for everyone to post. When I post, please post so that it's not just my post that people see and messages override it and people don't see it. So when I post, please post it again at your own time, and then they understand the buzz we're trying to create around it. So you're welcome, everyone. Oh, nice to see Caroline, first time in history. You're welcome, Caroline. You're welcome, Abutu. You're welcome, Bola. You're welcome, Poppy. You're welcome, Kemi. You're welcome. Okay, so we are talking about domestic violence today. I won't be doing much of the talking because I have a Poppy here who's gonna be anchoring.
Welcome on board, everyone. I can't even see clearly.
Yeah. Okay. Let me put this. Okay. Can we see?
It's better that way. Yeah, it's much better.
Yes, it's because sometimes I have to show what is on the slide to carry on. So now we are going to look at next slide, which is before we start talking about domestic violence. The reason we're gathered today, well, one of the reasons we are sisters today is because we were from a place were called Fejikola, and Fejikola was 45 on last week. So it's more of recognizing that yes, our school was how do you call it now? Was founded, yes, founded years and years
our school is as old as some of us.
Yeah, apparently.
So we will not take that, we will not ignore that information because it's really a big landslide, a big landmark. So we are happy for Fejikola and we are hoping that things will keep getting better. And this is why we're doing this as well, domestic violence, so that right from school, if we were in school and these topics were being brought up, I'm sure many people will not be enduring what they're enduring at the moment. But so we are hoping that ESCOs, people who are in the helm of government authorities who can change things can listen to this and let us work with the information we get. So next thing is what is domestic violence? What is domestic violence? Please, everyone, just please talk. Poppy, do you want to carry on? What is domestic violence? For people who are just hearing that word, DV, what is
I guess
DV?
from the word now, violence that happens in a domestic manner.
Domestic violence is more than that too. Sometimes it's not so violent. Sometimes it's passive. So it takes I don't know. I think personally, I can only use my own case as an example. If you're the only way I was my own parameter of domestic violence.
The word violence shouldn't be there then.
No, domestic violence can be passive, Kemi. It can. Okay, let me give you a passive example of what my ex did. He had papers. I didn't have papers. Yeah. Normally, if you have a child in this country, you're supposed to file for your child. He did not file for his child because he didn't want me to get the papers through my child. I didn't read meaning to it, but that was part of him controlling me. So that's why I said sometimes it's passive. Even you won't know. You know, if I had an open mind, I didn't read meaning.
I said you wouldn't. Sometimes you wouldn't even know.
Yeah, you'll be going through domestic violence. You wouldn't even know. So domestic violence is relative.
So of course, I just said that. From just what the word, the statement says. Of course, it's far beyond just that.
Yeah, it's beyond just that. Because my own parameter was the fact that my parents were in love. And I knew, when my parents didn't hide things from us. It was an open family. We saw everything the way it was running. So when I was going through, I was like, but my dad didn't used to do this to my mom. My dad. So initially I didn't realize until it got physical. It was when it started being physical. Because initially it was very passive. It was on the low, like, don't do this. I'm your husband. You have to tell me, oh, and me, I'm a very strong character.
Sit
So
down
some
there.
things I'll just
Don't
look
go
at him
there.
like, "Kilele so," So some things I did, I agreed. Some things I was like, lie. So that's when the aggressiveness started entering it. You understand? So sometimes it can be passive and you won't even know that's what's happening. So some people are even going through it. And some people actually know, but they have low self-esteem. And that's one thing
They are too
people need
weak.
to. No,
Sometimes.
not that they are weak. They have, when you have low self, you might not necessarily be weak. You will see somebody who is as active and as hard as me, but they have low self-esteem. So they cannot challenge the status quo. And you have to be able to challenge the status quo. You have to be confident. You have to know you. You have to be in love with you for you to stand against any abuse another person is bringing to you.
Okay.
We'll get to a point you'll be like, no, I'm not taking this anymore.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Like solutions and all that. But at the moment, we're trying to lay a foundation for people who are thinking, what exactly is this domestic violence we're talking about? And I just checked on the website. It says domestic violence is not physical violence alone, because many people associate it with, once you have a punch on the face, that's domestic violence. But it's way beyond that, like Taiwo said. It says is any behavior with the purpose of gaining power and control over a spouse, partner, girl, boyfriend, or intimate family member. So that's it's related to what Taiwo said. So are there any, before we go on to the next slide, any other addition or subtraction to that? No? Okay. Any other meaning from anywhere? Or is there any website you think spells it out more than what we are seeing here?
I think what is here captures the whole thing.
Okay, great. So it's not just physical alone, it's also emotional, it's also,
it's not physical.
It's not just
a lot of things, yeah.
Okay, great. So I will take this out and check on my. All right.
I
So
thought
the next
Caroline there.
Yes, Caroline was here.
Okay.
Or let me see if she's still there. Okay, I think she is. Maybe it's internet or something. All right. So we've talked about what domestic violence is, but we are at the same time we're also celebrating our people. This is Nike
Emorua.
Yes, Blue House, and so she was a September celebrant. We forgot. Well, not that we forgot, but her birthday wasn't out at the time we had our broadcast. So we recognize that she's being celebrated, and we wish her many, many, many more decades celebration. Anything you want to say about Nika before we take it to the next screen? Anyone? Anything? Blue House girls, come on, throw it away. According to the social secretary. Throw away any information. No. Okay. So we shall prosperity. Now, the second part is, why is this topic not going away despite awareness and publicity and videos, Instagram, Facebook, everywhere? It's all around the world, but this topic doesn't seem to be going away. Any ideas why? Any ideas why?
A lot of people are still very silent. I think most people going through domestic violence they still find it hard to speak out.
True.
I think a lot of them don't just want their issues out there. Or I really don't know what to say. I can't tell. I'm not a victim, so I wouldn't know. But I believe. Sorry.
I said, why do you think people are still finding it hard?
I didn't hear that.
Why do you think they're still finding it hard to speak out? We're going to the nitty.
I don't know. That's why I said. That's why I said I don't know.
Personally,
But you know,
personally, I think the reason why people are finding it hard to talk, sometimes they feel it's how will I put it now? There are times women may feel that it's probably their fault. Maybe they feel they are not submissive enough, or maybe they are not just doing enough. Then another reason could be that some of them may feel it's a shame. Why? How can I defend the fact that I'm married to this kind of person? And some may feel they want to protect the family. I have been a victim of domestic violence,
some because of their children too.
Some because of their children. And at the time I left my own, I left the scene. I know somebody was telling me, then a lawyer, she was telling me that she wanted to take it up. She wanted me to sue him and everything. And then I had it at the back of my mind, this Yoruba adage that says, "Kinti kotu wa shore." And I'm like, Kiwani kawawa gbe, kawa lo ti mole, kini ma so fa won mo ngba to ba dagba and all that. Mo ti baba yin mole and all that. So because of that, I just, I decided, no, just let it go, just leave it alone. It doesn't matter. At least I'm out, just let it go. So sometimes some people, they go through that. And there are times, even some parents don't help matters. They will like tell their children, and all that. And because they feel they don't have the support, they want to just continue going through it, and they want to keep quiet. And then some, it is religious.
You have to go back there.
The pastor, they don't want the pastor to maybe chide them or something. They don't want the congregation to know that they are going through a thing like this. They see it as a personal thing. So they would rather keep quiet and endure. And I think that's the reason why it is even thriving, because their partners, they know that they won't want to talk. They don't want people to know. So when they are out, I remember that I had there was one of my
church, so to say,
choir, my choir leader at a time. The husband was the head of the youth fellowship in the church, and the wife was the choir leader. In fact, I never knew. I was a member of the youth and I was in the choir. I never knew the husband was maltreating the wife. I never knew she was going through sexual violence. I mean, domestic violence, rather. I never knew she was going through anything like that. In fact, when they come to church, there was even a time when they did these couples, whatever. They were even the face of the couples night or something like that. The pamphlet that they printed, they showed their picture kissing passionately and everything on the pamphlet. You will think it was a wonderful home, in fact, it's a family that you want to use to ask God, I wish my family was like this. The wife composes songs, she sings. Once she's singing, before she starts, she will eulogize her husband. Olowo ori mi, if not for you, that. She will, we thought it was a perfect home until the home broke. That was when we started hearing stories. Obviously, even some choir members knew about it. So I get it because of maybe they want to keep up that kind of acts. Exactly. They want people to believe that they are in the best relationship. They want to keep acting. I guess that's the reason why a lot of people keep quiet. And maybe for some people too, it might be because they don't have the financial wherewithal. They believe that they are nothing without their spouse. My ex then would tell me that, how will you survive? Because of course, at that time, I didn't have a job. I didn't have anything. He wouldn't allow me to work. He wouldn't allow me to do anything. So I was just there. And he would tell me, how will you survive with 4 children? You with 4 children, how will you survive? You need me. You can't go anywhere. And that was his mindset. So for somebody listening to that all the time and thinking, yes, I don't have a job and I don't have anybody to go to, they'll want to just keep calm and allow things to be. So I think it cuts across a whole lot of things.
Hmm. I think there was even a red flag there. From what you just said, there was a red flag. Empowerment is a very strong word. And when people are not
Yes.
being
Yeah.
empowered, they're being caged, like, oh, you don't need to work. I'll cater for you. Even not assuming the person doesn't even domestically violate the other person. When the person dies on call, will they come from the dead to start providing, even if they have?
Oh, to provide.
So
And the
empowerment,
worst part of it is, it was not even providing for me. Oh. It was not even providing for me. Oh. My mother was still taking care of my family even as I was married. And yet it would not allow me to work.
but that was a red flag. You didn't realize it was at that time, did you?
No, I knew, but what could I do? I told my father was like, your husband doesn't want you to work, so why don't you just calm down?
And he wasn't providing.
And he wasn't providing.
Was he
Can I
working?
come
Of course he was working.
Wow.
Of course he was
So
working.
he
Somebody
was
was
just
saying,
being selfish.
Yeah, this is Buki. I was just going to say, and that leads me to, because, hi everyone.
look,
Sorry,
Hi,
I'm at home. I'm with the kids, so you might hear one or two mummies in the background. Please bear with me. But I just wanted to make 2 points from, what Bola just shared with us. Once again, Bola, every time I hear you share this story, just gives me mad respect for you, for what you've been through and how strong. And everybody who's been through it, I also know Taiwo's, has been very open and vocal about her experience. I salute you, ladies, for coming out of it. I just wanted to say that every time I've spoken to different people, heard their story, I was still opportune to hear about somebody's story here in Arizona. It's all different, but there is a common thread. But I think the point that I want to go to at in this moment is, some for every story, it is unique in the experience and in the reactions.
Yes, definitely.
And the until you understand sometimes the background, you may not understand the reactions. and
Mhm.
and even when they have similar or the same backgrounds, we're all different personalities and the way we react to things. Then when we now add the concept of our cultures, into it. And sometimes, like Bola was sharing about the people in church, it may not be that they were trying to, it could be, but it may not also be that they were trying to, um, she was trying to hide what she was going through. Even in a normal marriage, I'm married. Thank God, I'm not in an abusive marriage. To God be the glory. But I know there are times where things are not exactly rosy between both of us. You understand my
Mhm.
point? In that moment, you don't even know where it's going to land. You understand what I mean? And so it would be, I wouldn't go out there and start painting a a oh my life is ruined kind of picture if we ended up going out in that moment that some things were not exactly rosy between us. I don't know if you understand my point. So I want us to, when we're having these discussions, let's try to see that there are different people with different reasons. Some people might be trying to, yes, I agree, to be, they want to paint a rosy picture when things are not really rosy. But there's some people, they just found themselves in it and they don't even know how to react. And then to also respond to Bumi's question to Bola, that why didn't you leave? She was already in it. She was already in it. If she didn't see the red flag before she got married, it's a different thing if she was telling us the red flags. She saw it before they got married. Okay, now then the question will be, why did you go ahead? And even that reaction still, it's still our personality, the way we react to things, that our culture, the way we're brought up. Like for instance, I remember when I was growing up, I've seen my mom and my parents, they would have, what we call intense fellowship. I like to use that word. They just had intense fellowship at home. I witnessed it. Not that they beat themselves. No, there was never that kind of thing between the two of them. Thank God they've been married over 50 years now. But they would have this kind of whatever that I was like, ooh, are my parents going to get a divorce? And then in the next moment, they're going to a party. And then when they get to the party, I'm seeing my mom, serving his food and kneeling down in front of him. I'm like, what kind of life is this? You just fought this now. So you can imagine me coming from that background. Eh? Exactly. And you can imagine me coming from that background. And if for any reason I now find myself in this situation, God forbid, I pray and not, the first thing that will come to that, and I have not re-educated myself. How did my mother react in those situations? That's your first go-to. So there's a lot of things that we may not be able to unpack. We just have to look for a way to deal with the uniqueness, the common threads, solutions. Like at the beginning, the part that I caught, you were asking, how come people are not still living? That's why, and somebody said people are not talking about. People are speaking out more now than they were speaking 5-10 years ago, and we're still finding people dying in the same situation. The lady I spoke to yesterday said, look, Buki, it's just a cycle that until you decide to leave, nothing can make you leave. It will be staring you in the face like this, and you'll be thinking, oh, in her case, she had 2 kids for the same man 15 years apart, and the same man was abusing her, and she was just like, look, I just want I just want him to be in the life of my kids. If it doesn't work between 2 of us, at least let him be in the life of his kids until he started abusing the kids. Then
It's
she knew
okay.
that she was in trouble. So I'll just stop there. I'll be coming in and out once in a while. I just wanted to let's put things in perspective that we're all different people, we're all different personalities, we all have different backgrounds, culture. There are some churches now that are very vocal about somebody hits you once, carry your back. Before Pastor Bimbo Dukoya died years ago, I used to be a member of our executive. He would tell us, he slaps you once, carry your back, come to me, I will oust you. So people have been speaking even in church. It may not be common. It's more common. People have been speaking.
So,
I want to talk. I have a few things to say.
go ahead.
First of all, part of the reasons we give is so bad now, our culture plays a very big role. That one, it takes 85% of it. When I was going through mine, someone told me, Big Bobo Kutumalo. As soon as I had my son, you see, as soon as I saw my period, my I think for the whole of the time that I was married to the guy, was about 2.5 years, but I went through hell. But I had to do because sometimes you need to, because I found myself in this country. If it was Nigeria, wallahi, the day he slapped me was the day I would have walked out. Because that's my familiar territory. I was in a country that I just had the baby. I didn't have papers. I wasn't working. I didn't have money, But one thing, for every time I suffered, I used to call my parents. I didn't hide anything from them. And my dad was like, wo, Jo, ma bonleo. They didn't mince words. It was not like you have to be married by fire by force. But I had a cousin that was telling me, big bobo culture plays a very big role. Our culture. So there are a lot of things we need to unlearn about our culture. A lot of things we need to unlearn. Then number 2, see, as soon as I had my child, I knew that I wasn't going to do the second one with him. So the first thing I went to do was put 10-year coil in my womb. In fact, the GP wasn't then. I don't know, Bumi, if you were aware. That was when that particular 10-year one was newly introduced. And my GP said, listen, that they've had cases. She didn't say Nigeria because she knew that would have been discriminatory. That people from your side would have it done, and then 3 months down the line they'll come and remove it. That is expensive. And I said, do you know what I told her? I said, doctor, put it. My husband went to fight war in Afghanistan, and I want to be doing one night stand. I swear to God, because I'm often here, Nika, and I'll be doing one night stand, and I don't want to fall pregnant. So that was my first step in preventing longevity in that marriage. Because I knew that so when my cousin said, big auntie, advice for me. Attend to along, you know me now, I don't mince words. So immediately, and because my parents were there, they were my parameter, were my number one parameter. Even the person I called my best friend then, she was just doing nonsense and saying nonsense. So I didn't even listen to her. Everything, I used to go to my parents. So my parents would always tell me, no. Then one time, I know the one that baffled me the most was, he wasn't even touching me. So I'll be like, is this normal in the marriage? Is it because we are married now? And I told my mom was like, at that time, my mom was like, you mean, I think that day, 33 years together. So say, come back, Jalet, you about for what come you no marriage, you know? So those were pointers for me. Those were my parameters. I knew that, something is not right. And like Bola said, religion is another thing. Religion is another thing. That one plays another role. All these pastors, all these Alafas, all this, they will tell you, how long can you that's bullshit. Excuse my language. I want to just quickly pick points and, third one, finance is another big deal. If you are not, a lot of young girls that I talk to these days, when I ask them, okay, so, because I'm always interested when I say girl in her 20s, I'm asking her, okay, so what's your spec in a man? And then when they say everything must be this, it must be this, it must be that, you that you're talking, what are you bringing to the table? You want your man to be this, to be that, to be that, to be that. You that you're talking, what do you want to bring to the table? You shouldn't be one-sided. You have to be empowered.
Girl.
Yeah.
What did you say?
Better preach now. I said preach.
Yeah. You have to be empowered. You cannot just sit down. You see, I don't know. Maybe because I think God just made me go through what I went through. I'm so hard now. When people talk, don't tell me that. There is always a way. If the door is locked, there's a window. If the window is locked, there's a hole in the wall somewhere. You just need to look. If you cannot, there are so many ways you can make money. You don't have to make 1 million. Do something. When I was going through my cousin offered, she was a care training. I said I didn't have money. She said, I didn't know anything about care. They were saying, I told some of my friends, I stopped talking to those ones. Because I knew they were, not that I hated them, but I just stopped talking about myself to them because they will pull me back. And I went for the training. That's how I got myself into care. So you see, the day I left that agency, the day I left my son's dad, the agency sent me for placement. I still went for that placement. If you are in the UK, if you've ever done care, you will know what I'm talking about. With body aching, I went for that care. I didn't leave my son behind. I didn't have money. I didn't know where the next meal was. And I went to register my son with a minder that we're paying £250 per week. Do the maths. So when people say some things, yes, cases are different. We react differently. But some things are significant in all cases. Is one thing. One, you have to be ready to leave. You have to be ready to leave. Because if you don't speak out, if you're not ready to leave, try as you may. No matter what you try, if that victim is not ready to leave, there's nothing you can do. They will keep going back. That case, the study case we are using, IVG, everything about that marriage was wrong. It was the devil's playground. They did everything that was against the principles of being married. She paid the ultimate price. So if the person is not ready to leave, there is nothing you can do.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do. That's the first step. Once you know, the flags are there, you know the flag is identified. You speak out, and you have to be ready to leave. And you have to be ready at all costs. I did care. I served in parties. I can give you the name of a senior that it was her sister's wedding. I was serving there. She was an accurate senior. But Kokaye could they call me. I had the mouth to feed. And I had my goal. So I didn't care. So when I hear cases, when I see people, when my cousin, I have a cousin that just left my house now. When she was going through it, me, I didn't let her rest though. I took her matter. In fact, it got to a point where gbogbo ilé tẹ́ ń sọ ti le jù mo ní ó má kúrò ọlọ́kọ méjì ò ní fọ́kọ kan ọlọ́kọ mẹ́ta ò dẹ̀ ní dúró sílé ọlọ́kọ méjì. I heard that from my grandma. So I was telling her, because she was even, when she was going through it, she didn't know. She didn't know that's what she was going through. And I used to tell her, but it was like, first she saw me as a killjoy. You know, I was like, you're going to leave this guy. You're going to leave. But she's good now. She's happily married. So there are lots of factors. But the thing is that the victim must be willing. Our culture, stop telling if your daughter, because now we are women and we have kids that are getting married. If your daughter comes to you that she's going through this, please, for Christ's sake, don't tell her to go back. Observe it and give her that support. If she keeps, I went back 4 times. Let me tell you, I went back 4 times. I left the first time, I went back. Second time, third time. It was the fourth time I told him, when I should push it, like bad market.
So something must not happen to you more than
bad market. It was a bad market.
Bad market.
Yeah. Okuta. So the 4th time, and I told him, I said, listen, I will be the best thing that ever happened to you in your life. And along to God, I am. I still am. I'm the only one that has a child for him. After 2 or 3 years. So you have to be willing to leave. You have to trust yourself. Because it's hard. Nobody is promising you bliss when you leave. It's another phase that you might even almost be tempted to want to go back. You might almost, because the first, second, third time that I went, the reason I went back was because I didn't have papers and I wasn't working. So I was thinking, who took the mom from me? But the first time I said, never again. I won't. And I didn't look back.
Okay, let's hold it there. I know there's still a lot to be said, and like we all know that the reason we're doing this is so that the next generation after us are not suffering this kind of ill to their home. So we're talking about before you get into the marriage, and even while you're in the marriage. So it's not just before. The before flags you can easily I'm not doing again, but when you're into it, what do you do? And that is why we're talking about the cultural cultural values that make us want to endure marriage, endure the relationship. It may not just be marriage, it may just be a relationship. So enduring it is a no. And that's why we're kind of saying you need to leave to leave. LEAVE to LIVE. Leave to leave. Yeah.
Leave to leave.
Sometimes I mean even
sorry, I want to ask something. Domestic violence.
Yeah.
Does it have to be between spouse, male, female? Do you understand? Does it have to be between husband and wife, or boyfriend and girlfriend, or anyone in a relationship, male and female? Can we say, between father and child, Can that also be called domestic violence?
Yes, domestic is anything within.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. That's physical
Okay.
abuse. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Like I don't know if you read you read the story of the father who broke a 2-month-old baby's hand.
Ah, that was bad. Though. Did you see the
Jesus.
picture?
You
Wow,
did
that
see
was
it.
I didn't hear that. I
The,
didn't read that.
the
The
idiot
father,
said
I
the idiot
didn't.
said the baby was
Wow.
disturbing
yeah, he was
and
sleeping and
he was
the baby
sleeping.
was crying. And he
The
beat
baby
the
was
child.
disturbing his sleep, and he used a hanger. The baby's hand had to be amputated. Actually,
Jesus.
After beating them, he tied the baby's hand together and then locked the mother and the child up
for
for
2
2 days.
weeks.
2
For
days.
2
2
days, Abi, 2 days, few days.
And then the
So I
managed
think
to.
the hand was already. It was
Yeah, okay.
getting worse. Káti ẹ̀ ló tètè dé hospital ṣèbí ṣe kọ́wọ́ ọmọ yẹn ṣì wà bẹ́ẹ̀.
Also were infected, so they had to amputate the arm from the shoulder. But
Amputate.
the thing is,
Jesus.
that guy has mental health issues. He's not normal.
that's not a normal.
You think so?
That one, yes.
Eh,
I
but,
jẹ́ pé
but
I jẹ́
definitely.
pé àwọn tó normal ní Nàìjíríà ń sìn yóò pọ̀ mọ́ o. A lè ju bí 10 lọ.
See, it must have started from beating up the mother, and the mother
Yes.
felt
Yes,
well,
I'm sure.
Shebemini, and all that. Then in fact, I remember. In fact, there was
2
a time
months.
my ex would say, "Àwọn ọmọ yìí ni problem mi nínú ilé yìí." So once it starts with the mother, it will
Àwọn
extend
ọmọ ní problem.
to the children.
Yeah.
It will extend to the children.
Yeah.
The video that I sent.
Yeah, I showed it. I can show it again.
I think you play it for them again. Yeah.
Yes, let me play because I think it was just 1 or 2 people that were here when I played. So let me play
It
that.
was the man's daughter that recorded it.
Yeah, just to set a pace to what we are talking about today. So it's not gory, so don't worry about it. And that's the thing. People will still endure that and still expect.
That man is a pharmacist.
I tell
The
people
woman.
The man is a pharmacist.
Okay.
a miracle
The man
can
is a
happen,
pharmacist.
but you have to
The
leave
man is a
first to let the
pharmacist.
miracle can happen. And when you're in separate ways, let the miracle happen while you're separate. You don't expect the miracle to happen while you're there.
Exactly.
Because you won't even have the time to pray. You can't even have a settled or calm mind, a peaceful mind to pray about it. So people have to leave.
No
People have
might
to
even be dead before you realize.
separately. So I think
Honestly.
more proactive. We have to talk about children being more the whole essence of this is educating the next generation, the children, the adults, those in need, those who are not in it yet, that they need to take be proactive about whatever. Let's go to the next thing. Let's go to the next thing because I know we can stay here for long. On a lighter note, October celebrants. We have funny enough, it's so complete here. We have green, yellow, blue, red, all colors.
Every color is available
On this page. So yes, anybody wants to say anything about Titi, Falakelo, Fela, Ireno Siagamome, Titi Tade, Bola, what's her name again? Surname?
Ogunpola.
Labu. Yes. Head girl, Danyade Labu.
Danyade Labu, our head girl. And Titi Tade. Well, okay, of course, the color shows she was in greenhouse, and she has always been smallish. And I didn't know so much about her when we were in school, but of course, I think she always carried a low cut. Am I right?
Most people.
I think she carried a low cut.
Yes. Who Titi Tade and who was it, sir?
I can't remember, but it was Titi Tade. Baby dance with me.
Yes, Tade Donyade Labu. They were. Not a man were white, right? Beat our military kini. Come on, were white, lo she. Choral. What did they used to do there? They used to go out to sing.
Ah, okay.
I want to uniform one.
Yeah, me.
They used to wear we used to have white wear that we wore on
What?
Sunday.
Yeah, they had this cap like naval
For
cap. But
Sunday.
Yeah.
no, they used to go out to represent the school. Woman lockery.
Yeah.
I'm not I'm not aware of that.
Encyclopedia ni wo gbogbo nǹkan ló rántí.
More time to remember.
Monday,
Mi
Náà la ṣe fẹ́
Don't
rántí.
worry,
Ìwé ṣáà ló máa ń rán wa létí.
Àbí?
Folake Olofela, our
Folake Olofela, Yellow House.
I used to think Folake was
big, low cut. You used to think she was what?
Greenhouse. I don't know.
No, I know she was the Yellow House. In fact, but houseware, big, the big check.
Big check, Abi.
Big check, the houseware, yes. Then she of course she had a low cut, and I think she was in A class in the GSS period. I think she was in A class.
She was in C. She was not in A.
She was in C class.
I think she was in C.
Yeah.
Okay,
was in the class beside us now. We were on the same block. C and D were on the same block.
Beside us. Okay. We're on the same block. Yes. Okay.
And Bola,
I think I remember her.
She's always been, how do I say, vocal. Like, she was one of the ones that we perceived then that no senior could chance. I don't know if it was just a perception by the smaller ones like us, but it was like
maybe because she was big.
But always been vocal, to speak her truth.
Irene also was Esther Ruaga.
Irene also was in Red House. I think we were in the same class too. I'm not. No.
Class, yes.
Irene, I can't really remember Irene. I remember the name, but I can't really remember her as the person.
We were in the same house.
That's
what I know. Irene Agemome. That's her name,
Agemome. I remember. Yes, I remember that name anywhere, anytime. But for her as the person, I really can't.
They didn't was the man's daughter. If you see a provision doctor, a jackpot.
She was what?
Yes.
And she was close to Esther Ruaga.
Yeah.
Yes, they were friends. The same house now.
Yes. And she used to mind her lane. She was a lane minder. She's not in anybody's business. It was just her. And they looked at they were both like light skinned and
And tall.
Being connection.
Mixes with
But
other people.
Esther Ruaga is a bit on the fatter side, bigger kind of.
No, Esther was somehow.
No,
Irene was tall. Irene was tall.
They were the same height.
I think Irene is taller than Esther.
No,
yeah, taller and slimmer. But Esther was
slimmer.
not big.
The hair. Yeah, but compared to Irene, she was bigger.
I don't think big in terms of front. And then
was tall, slim.
And then back then too, if you were small, the taller ones and the little chunkier ones will look big to you. So
exactly, Sha. That's true. That's true.
Bola Ogunpola was Lola Olatoye's mates. They were like two of
and yes, Lola Olatoye, Bola Ogunpola, and I, we were all friends together. Okay. The three of us.
Yeah.
She's. You said?
Ife. She used to live in Ife.
Yes, I think the father was a lecturer in OAU.
Yeah.
I think her father was a lecturer in OAU, but Lola lived in Ibadan.
Lola was Ibadan.
Yes. Lola lived in Ibadan. Lola's father.
No, we're talking about Bola.
Bola Ogunpola, yes.
Now, and she,
Yes, that's what I'm saying, that her father was a lecturer. She lived in Ife, and then she's the first person that and probably the only person that I know that bears Olubola
I know.
Her name is actually Olubola Ogunpola.
Okay.
And she was really jovial, very, very
And they were like,
jovial. She
abandoned.
can make you laugh for Africa.
Okay, nice to know. Nice to know. So we're looking at the comments here. There's a comment from Ajibola Ijamakin. I think that was Ajibola in Blue House.
Jibola Okola.
Yeah, it says the covenant of life is greater
Oh,
than the
okay.
covenant of marriage. Better to be alive than to be killed in marriage. The culture of silence must be eradicated.
Yeah,
Well done, sir.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's hard. Thank you, Jibola, for that comment. Very helpful. Now takes us to our next question. What can be done differently to put an end to the problem? What can be done differently? Being proactive, I would say, proactive about making that decision, not just waiting, because sometimes waiting could kill the whole process. That's
I
the way
think also that I think also that people who've been through it and who've come out should just continue, speaking their truth and should not be ashamed of sharing their experiences. I think when you've been able to get liberated, every opportunity that you have to share your story, to loud it, as we say it in Nigeria, to loud it and say it, regardless of whether, because like I told you, speaking with that lady yesterday, she's a nurse, she's a neuro nurse. She had a job, she was the one taking care of the kids. You understand? She has sisters, her mothers, and they were telling her, leave, 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 and she didn't leave. But one thing she did for herself, was that she went for every single therapy session, and there's a story that led to that. She went for everyone. She would show up, whether she agreed or understood what they were saying. When she didn't even think she should leave, she said she showed up for every single therapy. And then there was now a course on domestic violence. She showed up, she went there. Despite the fact that her sisters, her mom, and everybody have been telling her this is domestic violence, and she still stayed there. She will go and come back, just like Taiwo said. She said that when in that class, in that domestic violence class, when the person that was taking the course was now going through signs, and then it was like the person was recounting her story. That was the eye opener. Despite the fact that many people were telling her this is it, she didn't hear. She could not hear until she was ready to hear. And she said to me, she said the day she took her bag and left, nothing happened. They had just come back from a vacation with the kids. It was good, no beating, no fighting, nothing. She said that they got back and she just packed her bag and her children's bag and she left. And she has not looked back in 2 years. So that tells me, and that's the same thing that, I think Taiwo also alluded, I think Bola also alluded to that, when they make up their mind. So it might not be, you might think that, we keep saying this thing, but they are still there. Let's keep creating this awareness. Let's keep creating this kind of platform. Let's still talking about it. Let's keep sharing our experiences until one day they will hear in the right way they should hear. Somebody will hear in the right way they should hear, and they will pack their bag and they would leave.
Yeah, true.
And
Thank
of course, create opportunities. So, because a lot of them, like we already said, is where are we going to go to? Who's going to take care of our children? So, the more non-governmental organizations, and let's just, even those of us that have not gone through, let's speak to people. When you hear something, just speak your truth. Singles that are coming close to you, tell them about it. What are the whatever? Just keep dropping little drops of water makes a mighty ocean. But don't let's keep short about it. Let's keep talking about it. We never know the life that will be saved.
Yeah, true. Thank you very much.
And then another thing is, like Buki said, what we should try to form a support group for whoever we know that is going through it. Because another thing that keeps some of them there is the fact that where would I go, like she said, where will I go? What will happen to my children? I remember that before I left, I was ready to leave 3 years before I finally made up my mind to leave. But I kept thinking, of course, I was not empowered, and I didn't think I could tell my parents. I didn't think my parents would understand, as in understand enough to, get me out of there and all that. So I was just like making my own plans by myself. At a point, I thought I was going to write to 700 Club and maybe tell them that whatever job they can give me, they don't even have to pay me. All that I need for them to do is take care of my children. Just send my children to school with whatever it is you want to pay me. I was thinking of doing that. In fact, at a point I wrote the letter, but I didn't even post it. Knowing that there's a support group that is going to help you will assist some people to take the decision faster. And then when I finally made up my mind to leave, my mother was a major support group for me. When I told my father I was leaving, my father was like, where will you stay? That was his question. Where are you going to be? And I told him, because at that time I was up to my neck in it and I was ready. And I told him, I said, even if I have to live under the bridge with the children, I would go and live under the bridge, but I am leaving this marriage. And as God would have it, when I called my mom was very proactive about it. My mom was ready and she was my support system. So if I didn't have a mother who was ready to support, I probably would not have been able to take that decision to leave, because let's face it, what would I eat? How would I feed 4 children? How would I have survived? But because I had a support group, I could take the decision. So forming a support group for people and letting them know that if you take that decision, there is a group here or there are people here who are ready to support you, and nobody is going to laugh at you. Nobody is going to feel you have failed. Nobody is going to blame you. Nobody is going to play that blaming game.
No
if
judgment
they know that
zone.
people, no judgment, exactly. If they know that they're not going to be judged, they're going to be, that there's a support group, they will be ready to take that decision. A lot of people are not ready to take that decision because of fear of the unknown. If they don't have a job and they don't have maybe the certificate to look for a job, Nigeria is so mad about certificates. They don't even care what you can do. If you don't have that certificate, even if you have nothing upstairs, as long as you have a paper, that is the only time they can. So if they feel they don't even have a certificate for them to get a good job, they don't have a job, they don't have anything, the fear of the unknown will keep them in that situation. And of course, the man wouldn't be helping matters because he will want to keep them there. So he will want to start reiterating on that. Look, you can't go. You don't have what it takes. You won't survive. You can't survive out there alone. So if there's another voice that is telling them you can survive, you can be your own person, then it will be easy for them to take that step.
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much, Bola. Thank you. Anyone else wants to say something? Okay, there's I can read Yemisi's comment here. Let me see if I can put it on the.
Yes, as a human being first.
Okay.
And then good. Yeah, person.
So it says women should understand the difference between an identity as a human being first and then roles as a wife, mother. You are first a human being that has worth, value, and should have a life with or without marriage or husband. Instead of thinking that is the role of a mother or wife that defines your humanity. Thank you very much. So yeah, it would be nice. I've been nicer to use the main comment so that we can put it on the screen. Well, thank you very much. Thank you, MC, for that. Any other comments? Any other? Yeah. Any other? So what was the question? Let me look at it again. The question was, what can be done differently? Because we know things have been done. Yeah, people, there's so much information on Instagram. Some will even do, content creators have taken hold of so much information talking about it. But what can we do differently to solve the problem? Not just about knowing that, this exists, but solving the problem. So we've had 3 points from 3 different people. Any other pointers to what can be done differently by religion, the religious institutions, by the cultural, the societal understanding, by whatever different sectors?
What can be done differently?
Yes.
There should be, Nigeria is a lawless country. And the law favors the men. They need to reject the law. See, there is no here in this country. If you don't have papers, me, I did not know. I was stupid then. But for everyone that I've known after me, I'm a very great advocate. In this country, if you're going through domestic violence, you don't have papers, they'll give you papers. That is how high up that case is there. If you call the police and you reported your partner or your husband or your boyfriend that you are going through domestic abuse, if you want to drop the case and tell them you are not doing it again, the state will still, they will do a case against you. It's not about you anymore because of lives that have been lost. So the law is, once it is reported, it's nothing like, oh, I don't want to do the case again, I'm leaving him. No. It's a known case, they are going to charge the person.
I learned there's a NAPTIP. There's NAPTIP in Nigeria, and there's also something Yemisi called here, because I watch Bracket a Family, and when there's a problem like that, they refer them to NAPTIP.
There's a problem like that. See, that IDC girl that died, the police is saying they've arrested the guy. Why have they not paraded him? Once that happens, the law in Nigeria, there is no law, there is no strict law against domestic violence. So people are getting away with it so much. Osinachi's case, what has become of it? So there's so many cases like that. Right after Bimbo's case, there was a woman that the husband killed her while she was in her sleep, while she was sleeping. I don't know if you saw that one. Right? It was the same about 2 days after Bimbo Martin died. The woman was sleeping and the husband burnt her with iron to death in Ibadan or somewhere. The law, there's almost no law. One, in this country, yes, people go through domestic violence, but because people know how strong that law is, it stops them. Because you will lose everything if you carry on. They will arrest you, they will jail you, your property is you that they will remove from the house. They will remove, especially if kids are involved. They will not tell the woman to leave. The aggressor will
I know, Tayo.
Yeah.
Yeah. So by privilege, I've been involved with marriage counseling for a decade now in my church. So I have some information. I've worked with NGOs and therapists. You know, so there are laws. This is Yemisi speaking.
This is Yemisi Onilen.
Yes, about me.
Obayomi.
Yeah, we're glad to be.
I think Yemisi Obayomi, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. So I have a bit of understanding of this matter.
Pastor Yemisi, you wanted to.
So the truth is, I don't know about other states, but here in Lagos State, like I mentioned in the chat, there's the case I had to refer and I get updates. And man, free lawyer, this and that, you know, without the lady dropping a penny. And I know people that once they do mediation, if it's not so bad, mediation, the guy had no, if I told about someone, but people are not, in fact, a lawyer to tell this attorney that he said that there's nothing like that. So many people are not so aware. And there's so much advocate. I don't know why people's here are not open to that thing in Lagos State.
There's not
and enough a fantastic job. And also, sorry?
There's not enough information out there. Yeah, see, when Bumi cannot testify, sorry, if there's anything going on, they will translate in English, they will translate. You will see their hospitals filled with all those posters in their language. If the information is not out there, people won't know. People perish for lack of knowledge. It's basic.
Well, exactly. So maybe they should create more awareness.
I don't know.
Create more awareness.
They want to create more awareness because I have a couple of times heard it on radio. You know, maybe because let me not say because my church, we don't take those things for granted. So people keep coming in at like this today. We had the women's program, and of course we got a lady who's is the family lawyer to speak about it, and we get information. But when you sit down with people that have gone through this case, you'll be amazed. Like this particular lady, this war, domestic violence, started from
the day she got married. From the day she got married, from that night.
Yes, sir.
And I knew them, and I was telling her, Christy, this thing, I'm not sure, but I said, no, Pastor Yabisi, don't worry, I know how to handle it for 7 good years.
Okay.
And I said, I can't tell you, I keep telling other people, I tell other counselors, I said, see this case there, is that one person dies? But there's nothing you can do if the person involved is not ready.
Not ready, exactly.
The day she will leave, she just called me
Yes.
and said, okay, I don't want to be involved because I'm very blunt with the husband. He has him as an enemy. So I don't want to be involved in this matter. If you don't do it, what is right for you? I don't just go to, I gave her the phone number and she went there. She didn't even talk much. I didn't even follow up with her. After a month or two, she just called me, have left. Nobody to tell her. So like Taiwo said, and everybody has spoken, if that person, the victim, doesn't come to the realization, and even if Jesus Christ appears to the person and tells her that, oh girl, leave, they will not leave. This lady left with her kids. And like you said, support. I can relate because, see, I mean, like I said, this lady, she calls me, okay, this support is integral. So it will start with us. It's easy for us to say, oh, domestic violence, women don't want to leave. But are women supporting each other? Are women supporting this lady? For 7 years, she wasn't doing anything. The man never allowed her nothing. And so where Jisowo, if you understand my Yoruba, where Jisowo gone? I know that this lady can turn anything to money. Okay, we'll raise capital. We sourced for capital for her and started. Now, for that capital, just like how many months, 3 months, I went to one school. She paid for a mini flat. From that 150,000 naira capital. Do you understand? So if women can, let's all come together. We heard the story. Let's refer them to Lagos DSVRT, and let's support them economically, support them psychologically, with prayers, with just listen to that story alone. It's comforting to them.
Very, very.
It starts with us women. Let us even be advocates, be there. We're not going to encourage people to share. No. But when you see that this person is being damaged emotionally, because once a woman is damaged, the family is gone, the children especially. I've seen enough. It is my more than 10 years of counseling. I've seen enough to know that no, this thing is not. And women too, there's no lies on the pit of hell. Culturally, look at the
why.
Yeah. There's some people that
me and his wife
told before. I told them this young couple, I said, look, I said, is it that one of you guys? Do we are going? I said, but if you ask me, I'd rather have you come out alive than bury a church member or I'm a pastor to you than bury you. I'd rather have you being a single mother and I support you than bury a young lady of 3 years. Thankfully, they work together, but there's some hard truth we have to say it out. Then once they make a decision, whatever, then you support them and you love these people. It's not an easy thing, it's not an easy thing, but I'd rather have a single, healthy, sane person than have a dead church member or a sister that dies in marriage. God forbid. No.
True.
No. And the truth is, men too are suffering. We're adding lower goni. Men too are suffering.
True.
Suffering. Domestic violence.
I shared with the class how I lost a cousin to domestic violence, a guy.
Wow.
The whole family told him to leave.
In America?
I shared it. No, in Nigeria.
Oh, okay. America anymore.
In Nigeria.
Wow.
I was the one who shared it on the platform.
Yes. I think I read that story on the platform.
Okay, this book is talking now.
We hear more about the women.
Yeah. She mentioned it.
We hear more about the women, but there are few men too. There's some women that are crazy.
As well. Just
I can't go into details right now of some other things that I know that women have done to people that are close to me because my kids are around. But so it goes both ways, you know.
Yes.
So constantly talking about it would help to, so even if they don't hear it now that we're talking, they will still hear it again and hear it another time. So it's constantly
Yes,
talking about it rather than being reactive. We need to be more proactive.
yes. And can I add something to this? It also starts from the family when the children are still small. It starts. What do we tell them? How do we treat the boys and the girls? We need to, first, if a child can see another person at first, not as a boy or a girl, but as a human being, humanity, human being that has value, that has worth, a human being. So if you can see whether a gate man, a cleaner, a messenger, is first of all a human being before the
Like
role or the
you.
title.
Mm-hmm.
So you treat them well, then
Mhm.
it will be difficult for you when you become an adult to do otherwise. I mean, to start, beating or, because some of this, let me say, either male or female that beats or involved in domestic violence, somewhere in their psychic, they don't see that person as someone that has value or worth. I mean, that's just the bottom line. They don't see that person as someone that has value or worth. But if somebody sees someone that has value, you want to cherish the person, even if the person is misbehaving, because you have a value, or you have placed a value on this person. You don't want to mismanage this person. You don't want to hurt them. So it starts with even us as parents. How do we treat our children? How do we treat them as human beings, not just a child? Okay, first humanity, then every other thing follows. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Also,
Yeah.
in addition to what Yemisi said, let me give you an insight into what our culture has done to us. Remember that Macmillan book that we used to read in primary school? Taiwo, Taiwo.
Yeah.
Ali
Yeah.
goes to school. Simbi goes to school. But when Ali and Simbi comes back, Ali is in the garden playing. Simbi is watching the plates with her mom. That's the narrative. Boys are not trained. The girls are the ones that get the brunt of it. Most growing up, our house was one of the few ones. I remember that girl is dead now. If you know her, Esther, she was in Greenhouse. She was like 2 years our junior. She used to come to our house, and she used to tell my sister that your house is the only house I will come. You girls will be watching TV and the boys will be cooking. My mom made sure of that. So we all share domestic work, everything in the house equally. And then when the father shouts at the mother all the time, that's what the boy is seeing. One of the things that led me to leave was the day I was being beaten. My son was running on the corridor, crying. It was just 1+. I saw that scene and that thing just stuck to my head. And I said, this boy will never see this again. And I left that day. So because if you are breeding a child in a domestic abuse marriage, what do you think? That's a damaged child. Big Boss case. I don't know if you saw one of the videos. I will keep referring to that Big Boss case because I followed it through and through, and it's so heartbreaking that girl died. All the flags were there. Even her family support was not good enough, as far as I'm concerned, because they were always recording them. Family buruku wo niyen.
But I'm not sure that girl has ever been okay.
Okay, because it's your 15, Papa yẹn ti groom ẹ, ó groom ẹ ní náà. Tó bá gbọ́
òun
story
náà
yẹn.
kí ló tóun náà ṣe gbà kan groom ohun tó yẹn.
It's the same thing that Idibia is going through too. She has been groomed by Two-Face. So if you groom a child at that age to depend on you emotionally, you've psyched her. You've made her feel that she's the superwoman. She's this. I don't know you. Don't you jabolare? So I cannot sleep. Did you see the video? That's part of narcissistic behavior. I can't sleep.
African queen.
I don't want you and the children to go.
She's this African queen.
So when the children in that ẹni bá ti lu gẹ́ yẹn tán o lé ọmọ kékeré méjì ọmọ under 5 méjì ó tún lé wọn pẹ̀lú ìyá wọn irú ọmọ wo lẹ rò pé àwọn ọmọ yẹn máa dà. The girl's first child tried to commit suicide last year or 2 years ago. The first daughter. They are already
tried to commit suicide.
One need the Babanla rehabilitation. Because they have been our parents. If you see the girl's hands, On bandage any now, because she's a drug addict. What's the injector? You marriage buruku one on third pregnancy, one lue, you jabola re o tún padà ló tún lọ bímọ méjì láti join márùn. Ó fẹ́yàn márùn ọmọ márùn nínú kíní kò tọrọ ẹ.
The truth is, I can't survive. That girl, maybe groomed, but that girl never had any identity. Her life never had. Her life was already in that guy. So if you separate, as if it was only. See, the truth is, you couldn't only that girl here.
That's why
because she cannot see herself outside of that guy. She couldn't see herself. She wouldn't have been able to see herself outside of that guy because she it wasn't Bimbo we're saying. It wasn't Bimbo. It was that IVD guy. She was not there. She has never been. She has never been a human being. She has been a pseudo person, an extension of that guy.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. And that's the reason why
at that age, when she left with this guy, I understand that she left, she was brought back, she kept on going back somehow, but is there nothing else they could do to keep her at home?
How did she get to that level?
I'm not talking about now. I'm not talking about recent. I'm talking about back then.
That's what I'm saying. What happened? How would a teenager get to that level, exposed to that kind of people? Don't really see where were the parents, what were they doing? That
we're saying the same
that
thing.
you will get so exposed emotionally. I get attached. I was so tight to that extent.
Yeah, we're saying the same thing. The parents were probably not there.
Parents, we need to question.
Absolutely.
Like, you're not free to have a soul tie at that young age. Like nobody could break it to death.
So they tell ọkùnrin lọ.
No.
Wọ́n ní wọ́n rí mú padà. Ó tún bọ́ mọ́ wọn lọ́wọ́.
I don't know the details of this story that you guys are talking about.
I don't see that, but
I want to say something. I just want to chip in something real quick. This is an awareness for all of us. Parenting has got to change.
Yes.
The way we parent has got to change. We need to parent and in different ways. The way we parent boys, for those of us that have boys, I don't have boys, but if I have boys, the way the parents parented my brothers is definitely different from the way I have to parent them. And the same way we parent girls should be different from a young age. We need to be conscious of making sure build a good awareness of themselves. Using different tools, and that means it may mean that we have to re-educate ourselves. We ourselves need to re-educate and keep re-educating ourselves to match, because this generation, they are so different from us. You understand? To match the generation, whichever generation our children, I know we all have different ages. Some of us started early, some of us started late. But all I'm saying is that it starts from us. It starts from us in how we build. It doesn't mean that we're going to be perfect. It's going to be foolproof. But let it be said that I did my best.
Yes, right. Thank you very much. So it's when you look at the cases that have been mentioned now, I'm not familiar with the case either, but we see that it has to do with the foundation, the parenting of that victim that lost her life. So maybe that should take us to our next. Let me just go to our next thing, because I know we have spent more than an hour here already. Let's talk about these 5 ladies. Bumi, Adeleye.
October celebrants. There are many.
Yeah, there
are a lot of October though.
Yeah,
honestly.
That's my cousin, my sister-in-law.
Who is that? Who is your sister-in-law?
Bumi Adeleye.
My cousin, my sister-in-law, Bumi Adeleye.
Wonderful.
And now, don't you know she's Buki Adeleye?
Yeah, I think it didn't.
I'm married to Bumi's brother.
Really? Wow.
Really?
Yes.
Beautiful.
I didn't know.
But you were not close in Akure, were you?
We were close in Akure because actually that's why my husband and I didn't get married, because we were told we're cousins, and we were in D class from GS1 to 3. Our seats were next to each other. Wow. Her mom is from my parents' village, and actually her mom was my dad's school mother. So
Ah,
if they had explained it to us that way, it would have been easy. But they told us we were cousins. Ashe,
cousins.
all
So
those
you were
long
in the
distance
local area.
cousins we're from the same village. But that's why I call her my cousin, my sister-in-law,
Oh, bless.
Wow.
So great, great. And she's the cake boss here in the UK,
and the
isn't she?
cake boss in UK. Yeah.
She's
Mhm.
my cake plug and she's very good.
Really?
Yes, so Olumasegun cake ni. For
Ṣé
all
flower wo lẹ ń lò tí yín àbí tiwa?
eh?
Biscuit cookie boss
Mo ní
is asking.
flower wo lẹ ń lò tí yín àbí tiwa?
Cookie.
Tiwani.
Kò lè dàbí cake Naija láéláé gbà ẹ̀.
Hold on.
Okay, well, Augusta,
A
Jumoke,
flyer will convince you.
Wagbara. Yeah,
Augusta Okam. She was in Greenhouse.
house, yeah.
Yes, and she had the sister that will be Okam in Blue House.
Mm.
Uh-huh.
Welcome family.
Jumoke the dancer.
She was
Jumoke.
tall, slim, nice lady. She used to, she was very jovial. So I remember her very well.
Ooh, Jumoke or who?
Ada Obiokam now. You said Ada Obi.
Okay, yeah. If
Jumoke Akitolaya was in Blue House. She was
Yeah.
my friend at some point. I remember her too. She was Larry Chiyombo's look-alike then.
Larry Shambo,
I
yeah.
remember Larry Soyombo.
Yeah, they were in F class together.
Mm.
And then there's Ify. Ify had a sister.
If she had Gina, yes, she had a junior sister. Yes, they are 93 or 94 set, yeah.
She had a sister. Iro Wagbara, the drama girl.
Drama girl. Life of a party.
Oh, okay. Shall we go to the next one? So, how can victims be empowered to end domestic violence? How can they be empowered? Empowerment in terms of, of course, we can see, I don't know, but from the talks we've had, Bola is not here. I think maybe it's network. From the talks we've had, we can see that element of. Sorry, somebody is talking in the background. Okay, so we can see that common factor. Sorry, I'm hearing something. Okay, it was from Poppy's end. So when Poppy's end on. All right, so we can see some common factor. Maybe it's just me seeing it that the spouse will not want the other person to work. They want them to be totally dependent on them so they can have total control. And that I think is one of the red flags people should start looking out for. So how can victims be empowered when they're in this situation to end DV? How can victims be empowered? Because if they're empowered, if they have their work, they have their own thing, money coming in, be able to fend for themselves and the children, I don't think they want to stay in an abusive marriage or relationship. Let me not just say marriage, but abusive relationship. Okay, so over to you, ladies. How can victims be empowered?
Yeah, I think like Mrs. said, women should always be there to support women. If you have foundations and things like that to support, victims, to reassure them that once they are out, because I think most times the fear of the unknown, the fear of what to eat, fear of, taking care of the children and themselves, especially if they're not working or they're not making any form of, income. They just wouldn't want to leave. But I guess if they can be reassured that, they'll get something or, they will be supported one way or the other, I guess this will also go a long way in helping them come out of such abused relationship.
Yeah, true. Yes,
I would
true.
also like to add that, of course, churches or places of worship need to do more because it takes a whole community. And I also believe like platform like ours, like if we know a sister, for instance, the same energy or the same way we will rally around even more somebody who just lost, the way we already have that already built into our whatever, that one of us loses their spouse, we rally around. We should also have something in place for empowering and helping, especially once they are strong enough to come out and say and reach out for help, to all of us. Karagabu won't permit me to use that, whatever, money wise, connection wise, helping them to get help, until we are sure that they are on their feet and they are ready to run on their own. It's not something. It should not be something that will be one off. Oh, I got 120K. You understand? It should be something that whereby the whole class will come and we just like, this is one of ours. We just have to, because it takes a community, y'all. It takes a community. So we must be there and we must be available, not just in words, but also in action.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you very much. So it takes a community. That's what's happening here. Anyone else? So the question was, we said, how can victims be empowered to end domestic violence? How can they be empowered? So I would also say, giving not lectures, awareness to students in school. So we're talking now based on ladies. Well, we know it's both men and women and boys and girls that grow up to become men and women who eventually are either victims or villains. So we introducing extracurricular courses for children in school. I'm an advocate for that in school, to start telling them about this things, because I think it's lack of information to know that that make people not to want to say anything about it or just want to endure. Or so if they know that there are government organizations you can go to, this is what is happening in the world today, this is what you can do, this is who you can report to, this is who you can call, I think people will be more armed with information and will not endure what they endure. So I, from a very young age, even to Fejikula people, those in Fejikula, those young girls who are there, need to be trained how to be empowered. All those skills, if they are submitted CV and there are no jobs, no white collar jobs, you can still start making something out of what you've been trained in school. Maybe you've been trained how to sew, you've been trained how to you've got skills about entrepreneurship in schools. All these things need to be taught, because I know if some of us were taught that in school when we were there, not just you have to be a lawyer, you have to be this, you have to be that. If you had other extracurricular skills, I'm sure it would have helped some people. Rather than waiting for jobs to come to them, they will be job creators themselves. So education I think is a big thing for me. Anyone else?
I want to add real quick to what you just said. I agree 100%, and education for both boys and girls. And also, if we can, remove the stigma in seeking counsel and therapy. Our culture stigmatizes, let's go for counseling. Why should I go for counseling? Do you know what that person that you're going to counsel goes through? Or it doesn't matter, because sometimes just talking it through, just, helps. And, so our culture needs to also remove the stigma in, I'm going to seek counsel. There's nothing bad in seeking counsel, because those boys that you talked about, or these men that are violating, domestically violating their wives, it started from something core in their core, something they grew up with, something they believed. They just didn't pick it up just by marrying the woman. But then, if from a young age they sought help and they didn't think they would be stigmatized in seeking help to whatever that made them so broken enough to break somebody else, it would also help. So, and I can't tell you that I know how we can change the culture other than this education and being available, but just our culture stigmatizes seeking counsel or seeking therapy.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Now, there's one question before I go further. I know in this country is different, in this, I'm in the UK. So in the UK, if somebody, you have a care of duty to anyone who gives you an information about being abused.
Duty of care.
Duty of care. Did I say care of duty? Oh, sorry. Duty of care. Yeah, duty of care. You have that duty of care if you're a teacher or you're responsible for children. If they secretly tell you something, you can't keep it to yourself. You have to, say to the necessary authority so that something can be done.
You have to break the GDPR at that point. Code of silence.
Yes,
Yeah.
but in our society where somebody gives a secret, I know for the Osinachi case, there were so many people she confided in, but nothing was done. Nobody was proactive about it. I guess they were just doing their own thing about going to the man, begging, and that one would throw them out, would lock the door, and he had power because that thrived on that secrecy. So is there anything we can do when somebody tells us things? Well, outside the Western world, because like we said, it works well here. But in Nigeria, for example, when people tell us things secretly, what can be done to not be like we're telling the whole world about it, but we're doing something about it, and at the same time, we're not just keeping it secret. We are doing something about it. What can be done in that situation so that person doesn't feel, oh, I've told out my secret, now everybody knows about it? Because if everybody knows about it, to be honest, people who will help her or him or her at that time, that person will be saved from death. So how can we strike a balance? I guess that's my question. Without the person thinking, oh, she has gone to tell everybody, and now everybody knows. And at the same time, you don't want that person to die in secrecy. Because that's part of the proactiveness we're talking about here, being proactive about it. Yes, what can we do differently? Especially if you're not in the Western world, you're in Nigeria or Africa. Yes, Niger? SRO.
I don't know if there's anything for me, if I have someone in that kind of situation, and I know she or she is in danger, great danger, I will have to speak out, or at least speak to some people concerning it, so that something can be done. You cannot just keep quiet when somebody is going to die, and probably likely to die. I don't think it's advisable to keep quiet, and I don't think there's any law that says when you eventually speak up, you'll be picked up. Or you'll be picked up or anything. So I don't know. Like in the UK, like you said, you have to speak up. But in Nigeria, fine, you might not speak up, but I don't think there's any laws that says if you speak up, you'll be jailed or something. It's just going to be a breach of whatever between you and the person who has told you that in secrecy. And I want to believe at the end of the day, he or she will thank you for it.
Tell me, are you sure?
And that's why I said, is there any law that says
no. I will balance. There's no law, okay? But see, so many of our sisters in this situation have kind of developed learned hopelessness. That they cannot even see themselves outside of that situation. And when you tell them, you break that code of silence, they will turn back. I work with therapists and I've seen that. I've heard stories. They will turn back. They didn't send you, there's nothing wrong with them. Even when, Lagos have an hotline. Lagos have an hotline. You don't even have to be, you don't have to mention, they will not divulge your identity.
Your info.
That's why I said, we can always say something without even
the numbers are there. They can call Lagos hotline for domestic, violence issues, even child abuse. You call them, you give them the full details, the name, the location, they will just plan, and they will investigate, they will come and pick up the person, and your name will not be mentioned. But if you go and do, you're not going to tell the person will turn by did not send you and become an issue. Do you understand? So as long as we go through the route of when the person is not really willing, or is so ignorant of the situation, to help the person. For those within Lagos State, please let's call Lagos State hotline. Unfortunately, I don't have it offhand now. I can put it on
But that is
later.
when you are actually sure that person is going through such.
Oh, of course, you can't assume this does not open up to you, or you don't have proof. I mean, maybe some did not open up. Maybe a number that is going through might not even talk to you, but you hear buzz, you hear screaming, you see, and you know. Just call them. They will come investigate and they pick up. They will take up the matter, even if it's child abuse.
I was screaming, going at us, Tira.
You all know them more.
Hey, it's okay.
That's it.
God help us all with wisdom. Because
Amen.
easy as sometimes it's been said. It's easier said than done sometimes. Because anyway,
Yes, it's actually easier said than done. But then, well.
All right. Let's see. I think because of our time, we will just go to the last set of birthdays and then
October,
the same October, the whole month.
These are
it's like the whole month.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I can't remember Eno though.
Eno Bojegre. She was in Popular House.
Yeah, but I can't remember.
F class.
Yeah, I didn't remember her. I can't remember her too.
He was in F class.
Eno bakes cake now. Don't make cookies now.
Jerry's cake, yeah.
Now I know her now very well, but back
then, can't even pick her face.
I know her very well now. She lives
because
in.
Because they were in E class, Nena and Zena.
No, she was in F.
Even
junior school.
Like there, I can't remember.
Who don't you remember?
Bolanle, Laide, I can't remember those ones.
Bolanle, you don't remember Laide Olaniawo? She was in Greenhouse, F class as well. She was quiet. She was Mrs. Adegbile Rose's niece. She was Mrs. Adegbile Rose's niece.
How about this person in native?
Bola Akiola, she was in Greenhouse. She was in A class. I think she joined us in, GS3 or SS1. I can't remember.
I think
I don't know the face too.
Ojo change. Bola, she was in Greenhouse.
Benin.
Who was in
Benin?
Bola Akiola was in Greenhouse.
She was in Greenhouse. She joined us from FGGC Benin.
Yeah, I think she was in GS2 or 3. GS2 or 3, Walo joined Washa.
Okay.
I think it wasn't from GS1.
It wasn't from GS1 for sure. I can't remember.
No, I think it was GS2 or 3. Oh, I think Shola Fatoki. Do you remember Shola Fatoki? She was in Yellow House.
Yellow House. Okay, Morati.
Yeah, Mr. Shoranti one. How many the class were now? Shola no mental go right.
Shola Fatoki. So Taiwo, so Bola was in A.
She Bola Akiola. She was in A now. Man joko saarin. Roll láàrin towards the town there Labua.
She was one of those people you will call big too then. Both of us that were psychologists, she was tall and
she was tall, yes. She was tall. So when yellow at Wanjoko si Shola. Oh man, Shola Fatoki not your day mo ti rántí dáadáa. Shola Fatoki was in Yellow House. Oh, Dubai.
Yeah, I think I'm trying to recall.
Shola Fatoki crazy girl. Hey, I didn't see her face and they laugh.
Class.
Zainab Abu Ibrahim.
Yes. Who don't know Zainab?
She was one of the unique Hausa girls that was different. She spoke Yoruba fluent.
I think Nena was in C class.
No, Nena was she? No. It was one.
He was where?
In E class. Nena was.
She speaks Yoruba fluently, and she had the lisp. She was also a fun person too.
I think she was in Agege. She lived in Agege. I remember she was always in Lagos. She lived in Lagos. All right. Anyone else? Laide, who is Laide? Laide. Okay, you've talked about Laide.
I know.
we've talked about life. Let's go to the next one, the final one for today, before we now do the business of the day, by Kathy Cooks. Last one, how can children, both male and female, be educated to prevent domestic violence, and what red flags to avoid from being victims or even the villain? So what are the red flags? What are the either in marriage or outside marriage? I mean, before they enter into a relationship, okay, let's say before the relationship and during the relationship, what are those red flags? I think the one I picked up today is people telling their spouse not to work. Don't work, I will cater for everything. Just so that they can be in control of everything. That is one thing I noticed from this today.
And then when they want to isolate you from everybody, they want to isolate
Yeah,
you
they want to
from
cut
your
you off.
friends, from your family, their family. That's a red flag. You don't want to have friends.
Mm-hmm.
Isolation.
And then another red flag is, you see, some of these guys with their narcissistic behaviors, women naturally, we are nurturers. So they know when to tweak you and tell you, oh, you know, I can't live without you. They'll put you in that superhero mode. So by the time they start cajoling you too, you feel like a superman that, okay, I love me.
Sorry, scale, Abby.
Yeah.
I can help him
feel high at that point.
I can help him change and become a better person.
Yeah. And then you will come back. Once you come back, recurring decimani, he'll go back to his old ways. So that one, like Yemisi rightly said, you have to have an identity for you to know that, no. See, sometimes, let me tell you, my husband currently, sometimes he'll say, when he's ill. Me, I don't like when a man is ill and you want me to, not start behaving like a baby. I know that, yes, okay, only the bit of pampering, but Mosharagiri man, he lo Ibolawa. What? So me, I'm always like, go and do this, get up. I will do things for you. You understand? But don't be that swim that you want me to do everything for you as if I know. You have to be able to do things. Probably because motishisha ni NHS. Possible shele sick to koma kuloba. I want you believe there are some things you can still do yourself. So, but mo man lọ hospital. One man mú aṣọ fún ẹ, òun kú lọ nǹkan ṣe ẹ, ó máa gbé fún kò fi nu ojú ẹ. And in care, they will tell you, let them do what they can do and see how far they can go before you step into support. And that's just it. I mean, even as my husband, let me see how far you can go before I can support you. No, I'm not your superwoman, I beg. But I know I need the pampering.
Now, so
yes. So let's manage each other in such a way that it's mutual. It shouldn't be symbiotic. It should be mutual.
Yeah.
My take.
Yeah. Mutual. Okay. Oh, sorry. I'm talking about red flags now. That's one-sided. Yeah. Okay. All right. Anything else before we wrap it up? I think from what we've said today, it will be nice to have this in schools, different schools, not just International Girls' Day, International Boys' Day, and all that. Things that they need to start knowing from now that you can be empowered, you can learn that skill. Don't wait till you get into marriage before you start thinking, oh, I need to learn a skill. From now as a child, learn a skill and also developing their confidence, not to be dependent on everybody, so that if it works out good, if it doesn't, then they know they can be on their own. All right. Anything else?
Can I add one more thing?
Yes, please.
So when we talk about how can children, both male and female, be educated to prevent DV and red flags to avoid? for children, even young adults, we should be careful of the narrative we say or we describe to them. Some of the things we say in passing, maybe I play with a child where can you call me better for sure or cook so that all those funny statements that we just say carelessly kind of forms an ideology in the minds of these people that as if there's something that is so special, so quote and unquote, that is like the end point. That thing is so subtle that it settles in, we're not even aware until we now become a grown adult. Now discover that this issue of marriage is like a do or die affair. It all started from little. So I always say, like when I'm doing premarital counseling, my first class, I always say something there. You may not like it, but I just say it. That the fact that you are a woman doesn't mean you should be a wife or a mother. Doesn't qualify you as a wife or a mother. The fact that a male factor does not automatically request on you to be a father or a mother. I mean, a father or a husband. Because the truth is, so it's harsh, but it's the truth. Not every female has the capacity to be a mother or a wife. Not every man or every male factor have the capacity to be a mother, a father, or a husband. And that's why I always say, that's why I respect those outside of the African, continent. They know themselves. They know that they cannot make life worth living for the other person. They rather stay single. But here it's cultural. We must marry. I tell you, go to marry. What are you doing? Blah blah blah. All those nonsense. But rather, let's focus on the person. Let the children have a purpose, a sense of purpose that is not defined by marriage or singlehood. That there is more to you as a girl child or as a boy child. Have a change agent mentality. That whether you are married, you marry at 25 or 30 or 40, there's something in you that can be a game changer or can change the world. So when a child is harmed with that mentality, it's not defined by marry or whatever it is. But there's a sense of purpose as a human being, as an individual. And I think that once somebody comes into his life and the person cannot speak their identity or sense of purpose, they know that I can't deal with this person. A child already knows that this is my identity, this is my sense of purpose, this is what I'm going to. And a man comes and says, you cannot work. The person will not say, no, we're not going the same way. There's a vision. There's something I've been scripted for. Let me use Bible. Bible says a child is like an arrow in the hand of a mighty man. An arrow is consciously, intentionally scripted or sharpened to hit a target. So a child should be raised with a purpose, an intention that this child, I want him to be the next president of Nigeria. So every of your grooming is towards that thing. So that child grows up with that identity. So no man or woman can come and tell him or her rubbish and don't do anything and say, no, because he has a purpose that's been built into his psychic or psychic right from childhood. And once they can know that, it's easy for them to identify any red flag or anything that does not speak to that purpose or identity or the vision that's been cast before him or her. So that's one of the ways I believe a child can be empowered and they can be made to identify red flags right early before they get into any unhealthy relationship. Thank you. Okay, so that's it.
Well said.
Thank you. The transformation that happened. This is the first time there's a broken in this house.
Bumi, we can't hear you.
Oh, sorry. I muted myself. I said, so over to you. Business of the day. Thank you for staying this long, everyone. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I know your time is so precious. Thank you for sharing it with the world and helping to be proactive about eradicating domestic violence in our own little way. We know that, it's like an ocean. There's anyway. So there's let me just say with this, there was somebody who was at the seashore. There were so many dead, I mean, not dead, but there were so many starfishes on the seashore. And a little child was just picking there were so many of them on the seashore, and picking that starfish, throwing it back into the sea. And one elder man came and said, wow, you're wasting your time doing this. Why are you doing this? They're helpless. So just, you're just wasting your time trying to save the starfish. And the little boy said, well, it might not make a difference to the world, but it has made a difference to that fish I have thrown back into the sea. So that is what we are doing today. What we're doing today, we might not be able to speak to the whole of Nigeria, the whole of Africa, the whole of the continent, Europe, and everywhere in the US, but that person who has heard it today, who will make a difference with whatever information we've shared today, I think we have done well, I will say. So thank you very much for your time. What we have said has added value to somebody's life. Now over to you, business of the day, Poppy.
Okay, Coffee Cooks. The niche for Coffee Cooks is mainly home cooked foods. For some of us that we're so busy, 9 to 5 hours, and you don't want to cook, you don't feel like cooking, you order your food. I mean, we go as far as low as 2-liter bowls of food, up to 24 liters. So depending on what you want. And it's home cooked in the UK. So if you have friends and you know that, okay, or if you are coming in, and because I know some of us, when we come in, we stay as Airbnb and those things. We can cater for you as chicken money. Moi, we're going fried rice, do gizzard, efori roll, efelegusi. So it's just mainly home cooked food, freshly prepared. I don't cook anything in my freezer. The only thing that I have in my freezer is the atagoing base. That's because that one has longevity. I remember someone calling me once and asking if I have moi in the freezer, and I said never. I don't cook any food in my freezer. Everything will be freshly prepared. So, Coffee Cooks
at your service.
Yes, so.
Thank you. So, do you post to Nigeria? That's a very an obvious question.
Chill wine, Mini.
That's what I need right now in my life.
Hello, sir. Bookie.
That's what I need right now in my life. Home cooked food.
Oh yeah, now.
So do you
do you send to Yankee?
No, I don't send to Yankee. I don't trust. I know there's one girl, Duni's Kitchen. She posts all over the world. I don't know how to do it.
Maybe she has a franchise.
I don't know. Duni's Kitchen is coffee that I know.
It's Coffee Cooks we know.
Coffee Cooks. I've not graduated to that level.
You'll get there. You get there. It's just like McDonald's now. They have franchise everywhere. So
maybe
it's
she has franchise because me more share.
And
And
they will send you on Habia. So so you post to every part of UK or not yet?
Yes.
Okay.
Just give advance notice for that one.
Okay. All right, great. Thank you very much. And I think we have come to the end of domestic violence awareness. I pray that everything we've done here will just add value to someone's life, and it will carry on like that, like a ripple in the lives of people. So, are we ready to sing our school anthem? 1, 2, 3, go. Ofe jikola
asu we a little bit
for
honesty.
Naughty and
Naughty and discipline. I'm
I'm
also caring it. As
Starting
you
unity.
need to stand.
oh, we must achieve success, success for the way. We pledge to do
To
our
the best
best,
and
our
raise our
best.
hand.
People are
The
girls are right.
girls are right. Success we provide.
Lord,
We finish it. Okay, you want to start?
We
Hungry.
are
Ah,
most missed stanza. You guys missed one stanza.
I'll
yeah, no,
pledge
go.
to
Ẹ
make
ti já ogun ẹ̀ papọ̀, ẹ má wọlé, ẹ ṣáà ti kọ́. Àìdíà la ní.
and
I need someone to even send that thing to me.
we'll post it on the whoever can find it or someone has to write it.
Ó yẹ ká lè rí lórí ṣebí school
First
Àkúrẹ́
and
ní
second
website
stanza.
now.
Yes.
Àkúrẹ́ ní website.
Okay, we'll send it to the general platform.
All right. I
Thank you
trust
very
Bumi
much.
to do that.
Thank you. I'll try. I hope I remember. Thank
All
you
right.
very much.
Thank you so much.
God bless you. Have a lovely night, rest. Thank you very much. I
You
really
too.
appreciate
Bye.
bye everyone.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye, Yemisi. Bye, Poppy. Bye, Kemi. Bye, Buki. Thank you. Have a lovely night, rest.